Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Narek and I'm trying out a different type of video today because I recently have been locked inside, not sure if you've noticed, but I've been playing the hell out of Save the World, and let me tell you, while I have been playing it, I've realised that there's a whole lot more people who've been picking up the game for the first time. So here are 10 things I wish I knew when I started playing, and 10 things I really suggest new players who are just starting out either take the time to learn or should really know about. Coming in at number 10, we have schematics and crafting materials. Now, if you've just come from Battle Royale, chances are you're going to have quite the culture shock when you realise you've got to craft your ammo and weapons and everything else in this game. Now, let me tell you, when you're first starting out, you have absolutely no idea what all these crafting materials and schematics are, so let me explain these first, even though this is extremely basic. So schematics are the things that you need in order to craft a certain weapon. So say you have a blue assault rifle schematic, you're able to craft a blue assault rifle if you have the crafting materials. It's not so much getting the schematics people confused about, but it's so much just getting the right crafting materials. So I really suggest, if you are just starting out, find out where these crafting materials are. A lot of them are self-explanatory, and they do have these little things if you hover over them which will tell you where to find them. But the amount of times, at least when I was starting out, which I had absolutely no idea how to get enough crafting materials, was absolutely insane. Now, they have made this a lot more easier in recent updates. They've added in, I believe it's eliminating collect and resupply missions, which are missions where you can debate eliminate and collect being a mission where you can farm for most of it, but both of them are extremely easy missions, and while resupply is designed for you to actually go farm things, this is another thing I suggest. Look at what power level your crafting materials spawn in. I remember going back to Stonewood, mainly putting down a hover turret and Teddy and just letting them do all the work and farming cars for ages and getting absolutely zero sleek mechanical moving parts. So please find out what power level certain crafting materials you need will spawn, because as you level up your schematics you'll need different things, and the game will also adjust that loot pool in matches. So for example, say you're at power level 5, you're going to get the lower end of the game mechanical parts. A lot of these are also constant, but as you go up you'll get slightly better and better and better mechanical parts. So say, I don't know, you've got a power level 130 gun that you need God knows what to craft. You need to be in roughly a power level 130 zone in order to get the correct crafting materials. Now, there are exceptions to these. I think it's called Fabricious Herbs. They will spawn like in anything. Same goes with like wood, brick, metal, all that stuff. A lot of this stuff will spawn in every single zone, nuts and bolts as well. But for later game stuff, and specifically the stuff that will change the more you level up your schematics, will change depending on the zone, so please take that to mind. Again, there are a bunch of Wikipedia entries and a lot of guides online as to what zones exactly each thing will spawn in, but I really do suggest you go out of your way and try to educate yourself on that, because it will save you a bunch of hassle in the long run. Following up with number 9, we've got getting the right class of hero and abilities. Now, when starting out, I think you're given like Ramirez, and that's the only hero you're exactly stuck with. But let me tell you, Save the World has God knows how many heroes and abilities and classes at this point, and you need to find pretty early on which one's going to work for you. Now, again, Stonewood is a pretty easy place, so you could probably play as any class just fine and cheese through the mission. But each class has their own subset of abilities and things that just make your playstyle kind of fit them more. So for example, ninjas typically have a double jump and a bunch of melee oriented skills. Outlanders, they kind of have like a middle of the road health pool, and they have most of them have abilities which will try and take out husks using things like Teddy or Shock Tower. Constructors, the constructors, they typically have like lower health, and they're mainly just focused on constructing a fort rather than actually fighting, though again they can still fire a gun, all of them can. And then finally the soldiers, to most of my ability. Again, let me know if I'm missing any and I'll be sure to correct it in the comments, but soldiers just have a fuck ton of health. They have abilities that heavily reflect that, like grenades. I think they changed one of them to the thing like raining missiles down. So those are like the main 4 classes, at least, that I'm familiar with. And let me tell you, you've got to choose one that works for you. Say you're starting out and you're low on ammo, you really want to be finding an Outlander with a Teddy ability, because what that's going to do is it's going to deploy a Teddy which will not be using up your ammo, and it'll go after husks. Same goes with Shock Tower, so if you are one person that's constantly running low on ammo, I highly suggest looking into an Outlander like Zenith or someone like that. They also do have their own little perks beneath them, so you will need to spend a decent amount of time maybe going through, but luckily the collection book is really helpful in the sense that they'll give you a little hero recruitment voucher that you can use, so you can go online, do a little bit of research, which I highly suggest you do. It just makes the game 10 times easier. Find your dream hero for, say, each class, because there are missions that require you to play as different classes and whatnot. And find your thing, use one of those hero recruitment vouchers, or use that legendary flux and whatnot, and eventually you'll have a hero which will work for you in most missions. Obviously, if you've got a daily challenge to play as a ninja, you should probably have ninja as backup just in case. I play as hybrid, I think, just because it was the one that was in the event store at the time. But again, be sure to have a class for at least every single possible daily mission that can come up, so you can, you know, get those precious V-Bucks, and also have one that you are really comfortable in playing for most missions. It will help you out so immensely in the long run, I cannot state it enough. And talking about heroes, at number 8 we've got leveling up heroes and schematics. Now, I'm leaving defenders and all that other stuff for another part, but we're mainly talking about heroes and schematics. These are the main guys. These are the ones you're actually going to be playing with. Now, in order to level up heroes and schematics, you'll need XP. You'll just get this from completing regular missions or mission alerts. Every little level increases the amount of XP that you need progressively until eventually it's like in the 100,000s for the level 130s and whatnot. Now, what do these do? Well, each time you level up, you'll get a small increase to certain stats. So for heroes, I believe this is health and shield and ability damage, whereas schematics, it's just overall damage. Now, why should you level these up? Well, it's obvious. It makes playing the game easier. The moment you level up, again, it's hard to explain, but once you complete certain Storm Shield defenses in the storyline, you'll unlock the ability to level up all your stuff to, like, the next star up. So if you're able to level your stuff up, I just suggest go for it. Make sure you're leveling up heroes and weapons that you know what to do, because while retiring them does give some other stuff back, again, it can just be a little bit of a waste of time and you'll miss out on some stuff. But be sure to level up your stuff. The amount of people that kind of have that go under the radar for a lot of them, or like they'll only level up their heroes or their schematics and think, well, what else is there to do? It makes the game 10 times harder, so be sure to be leveling up your stuff whenever you get the opportunity. And again, be sure in the stuff that you're leveling up is actually stuff you're comfortable with. Don't go leveling up constructors if you don't need them. And leading on from that, we've got expeditions. Now, you may wonder, okay, what the expeditions have to do with this? Well, expeditions are things that are unlocked, again, progressively through the story. So you'll unlock more vehicles and more ways and higher tier missions. And what they do is you put your heroes, their different varying power levels, which you'll get from leveling them up, onto, say, a boat or a truck or a helicopter, and they will go and try and retrieve certain items. These can be anything like extra survivors, which I'll get into, schematics, crafting supplies, a supply cache, and there'll be a little power meter. So say, I don't know, the mission is a power level 150, you will need to add, again, the certain vehicles that you have can like vary in how many slots they have, but in the amount of slots that vehicle has, you'll need to get it as close to, if not on or over, that power level. Say you've got 150, you've got 2 power level 82s, you throw them in there, you send them on their way, and as long as that you have a hero combination which is like above or exactly at the required level for it, they're 100% of the time going to come back. The lower the percentage is, again, there's a little percentage that shows just how high the chance of them returning is, the lower they're going to come back, obviously. And again, these take real world time, so you will have to wait. And there's something to do. Please do not skimp out on expeditions, especially when you're starting out and need those crafting supplies to kind of get yourself more established. Now, you may wonder, okay, well, what is the benefit in this? Well, like I said, I have a lot of my heroes leveled up, but I don't necessarily use them unless it's like for a certain challenge, or I'm playing with my friends and I'm taking the role of like the ninja or the constructor. I don't use most of my heroes unless they're in like a squad or something. So what I'll do is I'll send them on expeditions in my spare time, you know, maybe get like 1, 2, 3, at most 4 going, and they're going to return with, most of the time, again, once you've hit a certain point, it's like, you know, really going to be stretching and getting those good vehicles in order to get like those power level 750 ones, but they're coming back with stuff like Fabricia's Herb, which is something that I really need because my steel and gas trap supply ran out all the way back in Plankerton. So, again, be sure to constantly at least try and remember expeditions, because again, what else are you supposed to do? Just let those heroes sit there and do nothing? It's worth a try at the very least, and again, there's nothing really to lose. I think all you lose is the ability to use that hero for, I think the longest expedition I've had was like a whole day. So, you know, as long as you're fine, you should be able to send out guys on expeditions without any worry, as long as it isn't like your main guy, but you can cancel them anytime. But again, expeditions are just, they are so important. Please do not forget about them once you unlock them. And coming in at number 6, as I mentioned before, survivors. I'm sure some of you are very confused. What is this word survivor? Why have I never heard of it? Hey, that was me in Plankerton. Yes, I didn't know what survivors were until the middle of Plankerton, so this one is very close to home. Survivors are, as you could guess, survivors that you rescue in missions, from expeditions, all this stuff, and each of them can be assigned to a squad. And for the love of God, turn autofill on unless you've got a full legendary book of survivors, which even I don't have all the way up in Canny Valley, Twine Peaks even. Just turn autofill on, okay? I don't think anyone wants to spend like a couple hours a day, you know, going through, looking at the chemistry between them. Just turn autofill on for survivors. Now, what do they do? Well, much like schematics and heroes, you level up survivors and they will give you certain perks. So I think the ones that I can just lift off the top of my head are like shotgun damage, range damage, trap durability, trap damage, shield and health bonuses, stuff like that. You level them up, the more they affect you. If you level like 1 up, it's not going to make that much of a difference, but like, if you say level a bunch of people up, it becomes so much more noticeable. And I know some of you may be like, well, what's the point? Let me tell you, you are gonna be very much drowning in Survivor XP if you leave it for a while, but the actual opportunity to level up a Survivor late game, because I play like 3 missions per day, it kind of like goes down. So stay on top of your survivors. You may like be tending to forget about them, think, I don't need them or I can't level them up right now. Please, for the love of God, do your survivors. And more so, here's an extra tip, keep them regulated to purple and gold, or you know, epic and legendary survivors. Any of them below that, after you say hit Plankerton, Canny Valley, you really want to be recycling everything that's blue and below. And yeah, that's my advice for survivors, please do not forget about them. You know, something else you shouldn't forget about? Daily mission alerts and extra missions. I'm sure most of you have absolutely no idea what a daily mission alert is, because I didn't. You know, obviously I think Save the World knowledge is becoming more widespread, so sorry if I'm coming across like that, but daily mission alerts. As you know, there are missions in Save the World, and as you also know, these missions have different rewards. They change once per day. They used to change every couple of hours, now it's once per day. These things can have V-Bucks, a bunch of Survivor or Hero, or Schematic XP. They can have like pure drops of rain, crafting supplies, schematics, defenders, epic heroes, schematics, the whole lot. And they change once per day. So there are really good websites which go through like what you need in a much more easy to understand fashion than going from every single individual mission in the actual game. And the one I use is STW-Planner, so I suggest, hey, if you want to see what's on the little mission thing, see if you can snag yourself 35-50 V-Bucks or so in the day, then be sure to go give them a little check out. Don't tell them I sent you though, shh, they don't even know who I am. But yeah, so look for your daily mission alerts and be sure to do them if you think they're going to benefit you. Obviously, after a certain point, you're going to be kind of restricted from them unless you're at the very end of the game. It's like, at the start I think you've, at least in Stonewood, once you've completed however many Storm Shield defenses or your power levels however high, you're only going to be able to get the ones there, and as you go on, obviously the rewards get better. So again, eventually you may be gatekeeped from getting like the ones that you want, but it's still a really good thing to know. And on the same point, extra missions. So these things like your daily missions or your challenges, these things can be like, so in the story you think you do like 6 Storm Shield defenses per zone, but there's actually 10, which is like, I think it gives you 450 extra V-Bucks, because the last one gives you 50 extra. Do those if you need your V-Bucks. They don't give you any more perks like the base game ones do, but again, there's stuff to do, and other things can include like those quest fetch lines. Those are pretty cool, they'll give you like limited time heroes and gold and whatnot. And, you know, also just regular challenges, like, I think there's one for complete 10,000 play with others missions, those are a thing that exist. And just stuff like that, so be sure to check your quests, just check what your main quest is, because you'll have a bunch of other stuff you can do along the way that makes the game just 10 times easier, and it gives you so much more to do as well. Number 4, research and upgrade points. These are so much easier to use than they were previously. You gain research just passively in the background, and upgrade points you get after reaching a certain commander level. Spend them. Okay, do not stockpile them. Spend them, but don't waste them. So you can't really waste research points. Once you max them out, eventually you'll have all of them maxed and everything's fine. These let you increase like your offense, your defense, your tech, and something else I can't remember off the top of my head. And upgrade points will give you like access to certain abilities. So the one I can mainly think of is the supply drop and the hover turret. But there's also stuff like grenade rain, and there's also a bunch of other stuff like expanding the Storm Shield stuff. Again, this is separated into 2 tabs for stuff that you use in-game and just stuff that's just passive, like having a backpack upgrade. Just use these. Again, there's one tab which like you want to be leveling up everything as much as possible, which is just general game improvements, and there's other stuff in the upgrade points, which is like abilities, which is obviously depending on what you want, you can choose what you want to upgrade. So don't ignore them, because if you do, it's just, you're missing out. You have the opportunity to make the game like, I wouldn't say 10 times easier, but just generally easier for you. So again, I suggest you at least look into the stuff before you research them, because I don't think there's a way to undo it. Again, thank God that they gave the game a UI overhaul, because my God, it used to be awful to level this stuff up. And now number 3, something I didn't realise was even possible until I hit Plankerton without having a party. Set your privacy setting to public. I cannot stress this enough, okay? For the first God knows how many missions, I was playing exclusively by myself. Save the World is a game which is designed for most missions to at least have 2 to 4 people playing them. If you are extremely confident in yourself and the super deck's out, yeah, you could probably do most of the missions with your own party or by yourself. But for later games, especially because most people don't have that many friends that play Save the World, you want to be playing on public. Now, that's not to say that every time you join a game you're going to get a full-on party of people or any people at all, but playing with your settings set to public is so important, because I noticed when I was hitting Canny Valley or later Paddington that, okay, I haven't had a game with a single person. I thought like my network is like restricting access from other people playing, but no, having those extra people to help you out. Yeah, some of them are cringe and buy skins in Save the World, which, you know, they couldn't get in Battle Royale. You know, people like that are definitely a thing, and those kids that scam. But at the end of the day, most of the time, again, it's a very vocal minority that are pretty cringe. At the end of the day, you're going to get people that just genuinely want to help you and themselves with the mission. Now, most of the time, again, touching on mission alerts, any mission alert which is like super useful, like a bunch of Survivor XP or V-Bucks, those are typically the ones that you'll see just filled out the most. I think also Eliminate, Collect and Rescue the Survivors are pretty popular missions for people to fill up as well. But most of the time, if you play and you look around for the missions, maybe you leave the ones where there isn't anyone in, eventually you'll find missions where it's like, oh, okay, there's people here, you know, there's people queuing up to get in. And having those people play with you, because especially Save the World is a very social game, okay? You cannot tell me you can beat a PAL level 130 mission by yourself, okay? It's like, it's fucking impossible, okay? You're lying. Leading into number 2, find what works for you. This is like kind of hella out there, but just find what works for you. These can be like traps or building designs, but seriously, I cannot stress this, but so many people just go off recommendations of YouTubers, which I know is very ironic, because this is a video where I'm basically giving my opinion on important stuff, but find what works for you in the game. These can be things like trap tunnels, or traps that you would prefer to use. Again, I really like to use the Flame Girl 4 trap, but at the same time I'm having the curse of having absolutely no quartz in my inventory. So find those traps which you would prefer to use, or, you know, maybe 2 traps do the exact same damage, but you think, hey, broadside looks cooler than wall spikes, stuff like that. Find stuff that's going to work for you. You know, maybe find a couple of friends to help out with you. Find, just, again, it's really hard, but find what actually works for you in the game. Don't be like, oh, this guy said it works, because no, everyone's playstyle is completely different, okay? I think the only thing that most people share in common is guns, because, again, a lot of guns, like, most of the community use. Yeah, find guns that work for you, find traps that work for you, find heroes or people or a team, because if you're able to find a team and save the world, God, I salute you, Chief, okay? I've been playing this game for like, what, 3.5 years, still haven't found one. But, yeah, find something that works for you, okay? Don't just go blindly off other people's suggestions or be like, okay, I'll just alternate, you know, you've got to find what works for you in this game, because if you're going around being uncertain, that's just going to make it crumble in the long run. And finally, number 1. Do not stop playing once you hit Twine. I was so guilty of this. I did the first Storm Shield defense and thought, okay, time to go take a break. Because for those of you that aren't at the end, this isn't even a spoiler, but after Canny Valley, there is no more story missions, which a lot of people are going through the game to complete. Don't stop once you hit Twine Peaks, because there is so much more for you. Well, I don't say so much, but there's stuff to do. So again, like I said, once you're in Twine Peaks, your mission rewards are, you know, they're through the roof. And there's also more stuff to unlock, so like in all the previous ones, if you complete a Storm Shield defense at the place which doesn't even have a storyline to explain why you're expanding a Storm Shield, you actually unlock more stuff. So I believe, just off the top of my head, you unlock like a few more expedition slots. I'm pretty sure if you keep playing, you'll unlock like more of those upgrade points things. I think that's a given. And also you'll unlock those 5-star heroes and schematics, which are so important, okay? So if you want to get a head start for when the Twine Peaks storyline actually begins, I highly suggest you go ahead and continue playing in Twine Peaks. Maybe just focus on your Storm Shields, play the daily missions and whatnot, but don't stop playing once you reach Twine Peaks. There's so much for you to do. I think most people, again, they kind of get irked by the fact that they're not getting the main storyline and they're getting those side storylines. Like, I believe we're getting Yar 2 in like 4 days as of recording. Don't quote me on that. You know, all the people will go to Twine, they'll think, oh, what else is this to give up? But I think, at least for me, because I didn't play a lot of them, I didn't play Blockbuster when it was originally out. But a lot of people like find that those little storylines, but they're not necessarily difficult missions. Like, the dialogue and stuff, again, I'm there for the storyline. Don't stop once you hit Twine, there is still a lot for you to do. Especially in terms of getting more powerful, okay? Once you're in that part of the game, like I said before, you just become like basically an unstoppable force as long as you're able to get into missions with people. And yes, there are less people playing in Twine, which is like, heavily inclining to stop, because, my god, some of those missions, I swear, you spend 10 minutes setting it up and you lose. It's like, yeah, well, there goes 200 nuts and bolts and mechanical crafting parts. If one thing to take away from this is just don't stop playing. You know, take breaks, but don't give up the game until there's a Twine storyline once you hit Twine. There's still stuff to do, and yeah, in theory it will be tied to the storyline as of right now, but if you want that, you know, that extra leg up, you know, want to kind of remove a little bit of that difficulty you've had in your early days of playing Save the World, get that leg up, you know, start leveling up your survivors, your heroes, and all that new stuff with the benefits that Twine Peaks brings, and I guarantee you, it's going to be so much more fun when that storyline does come around, because you're either going to be ridiculously broken. Like, I'm talking so broken that Epic Games are going to be stuttering, wondering how the hell you've even reached the end of the game. It's like, the Epic Games even remember this game exists, but, I mean, those are my top 10 things that you should probably try and remember and Save the World. Sorry if this was like an impromptu video, I just wanted to try this out. So yeah, I'm going to do that. So if you enjoyed this, be sure to leave a thumbs up, possibly subscribe, turn notifications, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you want to see me do more Save the World content. It's a game I'm definitely very passionate about. I'm not sure if you've known, I've just talked for 20 consecutive minutes into a microphone. I'm not even sure if anyone's listening. But yeah, let me know if you want to see more Save the World based stuff. Like if you want me to, I know, maybe post like questline missions, or I don't want to rag on like anyone else's turf, but if you want to see me like, especially with my personality, you want to see me cover like Save the World news, I might do it like once per week. Yeah, let me know if you want to do that, because I'm trying to branch out, just try different things, because hey, I'm what the fuck indoors, what did you expect? But, so, with all that said, like the video, subscribe, do all that cool stuff, go check out my other series if you haven't already. And yeah, so with all that said and all that aside, thanks for watching guys, my name's been Eramic, peace, and